Good morning, welcome. My name is Ak, and this is my first ever video on the channel Operatioon Random Project. Today, well, let's talk a little bit about what Operatioon Random Project is. It's basically just what it will be a collection of random videos based on stuff that I get involved in, that I feel I might want to put out online because it might help someone else. And it will be random stuff. I mean, I've got one coming up soon and it'll be about putting shelves up on a wall, sorting out your DVD collection. As I said, random stuff. So anyway, this is all about traditional wet shaving. And I'm making this video because I discovered traditional wet shaving just before Christmas. So it's about 4 months ago now. And it's been a bit of a ride and it's been interesting. I've learned a lot. Really got into it. my wife says that I'm obsessed. No, surely not. So yeah, I just thought I'd put this video together because if you're new to wet shaving or you thought about wet shaving and you don't really know where to start, there's obviously lots of resources out there which I'll stick at the end with links down below, etc. But I just wanted to give you my perspective from a beginner's point of view about what I think you need to know when you start traditional wet shaving. So, shaving history for me, basically my entire life with a dry razor, really. Moved over to wet shaving. Yeah, that's pretty much it, which is irrelevant. Anyway, wet shaving. We're not going to talk about shavettes or straight razors here today because I have started experimenting with them. It's definitely not for the faint-hearted. I'm going to talk about the simple and easy route. Well, I say simple and easy, you're still got to be careful. You can still cut yourself to shreds if you're a complete buffoon. With what they call double-edged safety razors. Now, in front of me are two of the most common types of double-edged safety razor. On the left I've got a two-piece. This is the McCaw 34 HD, a classic two-piece razor. And this on the right, one that you probably never heard of, is by a company called Sven Forkbeard, and this is called Thor's Hammer, and this is a three-piece razor. Now I mention this because of how they're actually made up, and the two-piece is called a two-piece because it literally is. So I'm unwinding it and show you. There is two pieces. And we'll get to the nomenclature, I think, if that's pronounced correctly, in a little while. And then the three-piece will unscrew and the handle will completely come off. And there you will find your two pieces. Oh, sorry, idiot. Three pieces. So, talking about the three-piece razor first, the parts are simply called the handle, the base plate, and the top plate. And simply put, the base plate will go over, if I don't drop it because I can't actually see what I'm doing looking through the camera, will go over, the base plate will go over the top plate, and then the handle will just screw in nice and tight. You know, it's the whole handle that spins and it's the head that comes off, whereas a two-piece, and all other two pieces are the same, is you just insert the top piece into the handle base plate, and it will be the end, the little knob here at the end, which you screw to tighten it up. So there's the two most common types, a two-piece and a three-piece. Blade gap. Now the reason why it's important to talk about blade gap, because every single shaver on the market or every single razor on the market will have a different blade gap, which in essence will dictate how aggressive or smooth the shave is. Now, I don't think you should get, or you don't need to get too concerned about the word aggressive or smooth in relation to how effective a razor is. they're all going to have razor blades in, and by default razor blades are obviously razor sharp, so they're damn good. The only difference between something that might be described as an aggressive shave or a light shave or a medium shave is how many passes it will take to do the same job. For example, let's just say you've got 3 or 4 days beard growth with a aggressive shave, which is this, and I'll explain why in a second with regards to going back to what I mentioned about blade gap. And this is how many times you need to go over the same piece of skin or the same bit of face to get the same result, how effective they are. For example, an aggressive shave, you might only need to go over once and think you're happy with that. You might want to go over it twice. But with a mild shaver, a light shave, a mild shaver, you'll probably have to go over the same piece 2 or 3 times at least to get the same kind of result. Now, with regards to going over it a couple of times, we call that a pass. When shaving, what you tend to do is after you've done all your prep and you start shaving, very briefly, this video is not about how to shave. Again, I'll put resources at the end, so there's plenty of resources about there about how to shave, how to prep, etc, etc. I'm just going to really be talking about the razors today. Besides, I'm still learning, and quite frankly, I'm still not very good. So yeah, blade gap dictates the aggressiveness of the blade and also the feel and how effective it is. With regards to the feel, an aggressive blade will actually feel quite sharp, potentially against the skin, whereas a mild blade won't feel as sharp against the skin. It'll obviously feel milder. So without further ado, let's try and explain how you can tell by looking at a razor outside of a description when you buy a razor, because it will tell you whether it's a mild, medium or aggressive shave. But I wanted to show you the difference with regard to the blade gap on the razor, so you can actually see yourself and kind of understand the feelings you're going to get on your skin. So we'll start with a 3-piece. I'll put a blade in that. So, double-edged safety blade, come in packs of 5, come in packs of 10, but 9 times out of 10 they will be individually wrapped like this. I'll undo the paper. Now that first edge there is the razor edge, so try not to touch that edge, because even there are many different types of razor blades. Some are considered better and sharper than others. They're all still damn sharp and they can all do some serious damage, so they must be treated with the utmost respect. And flip this page over, and what I do personally, you'll get your own technique, just get the end, just expose the end here, and then I always handle it by the end. It's still sharp to the touch, but it's only because it's an edge of a thin piece of metal. It's not razor sharp. That is the razor sharp edge. These ends either side, you can quite happily touch them, no problems at all. So there we go. I will then place that over the base plate, and I tend to do it when it's down like this, because it's easier and there's less chance of slipping and being stupid and cutting yourself. And then I'll place, onto the top plate, then I'll place the base plate over the top. That's covered the razor, and then I'll just put the handle in, screw it down. Now I know it's in. Now the first thing to note is when you grab hold of the razor at the end, some designs do this, some designs don't do this. I don't know whether you can see this. You might not be able to. Yeah, I think you probably can there. The blade is sticking out at the end, ever so slightly. Some designs do not stick out and cover the blade. All that means is when you touch it, you'll feel the edge. Because it's just the edge that's exposed now, there's a potential, if you really dig your fingers into it, you might cut yourself. But just be careful. It just means the blade edge is not nearly as sharp as this edge, but it's still a little bit sharp. So that's the 3-piece blade. Now the 2-piece blade, ironically, considerably easier. So you might want to start with a 2-piece blade, purely because the pin, as you can see, is about 4 or 5 times as long as the 3-piece pin. So there we go. Another blade. Butterfingers. As you can see, there you go, just drop it, fall straight down. Over the top, screw the top in. There we go. So now this particular razor is another one that exposes the blade. I wonder if you can see that a little bit better. Maybe not. I apologise, but trust me, the blade is sticking out literally probably by only a millimetre, but it's enough. So they're the two blades inserted into the two razors. Now, let's just see if you can make this out on here. It might be difficult because obviously it's silver. But if you put it here, you can see the razor just sticking out a little bit there. You might be able to see it better now as I turn the razor around. You can see it's just protruding just a teeny little bit outside of here. And then there's, obviously that was considered a mild shave, so basically it doesn't protrude a great deal. And then we have the Thor's hammer, which is obviously easier to see because it's black against silver. And you can see how much the blade there, well, you can really see it in that shot there, how much the blade there protrudes from this one. So this one's the more aggressive shave. Considerably more aggressive, I might add. Don't know whether it makes it easier to see on this one, but seeing again, you can see the blade protrudes a little bit there, but it's not a great deal. And then compare it to the Thor's hammer. As you can see as I turn it round, yeah, look at that difference. So that's where you can tell and you can really feel. So aggressive shave, very good if you have thick beard growth or you haven't shaved and you're lazy for a few days like me. Mild shave, ideally better if you shave every single day. So that's blade gap and how it will dictate how it feels on your skin, because basically it sticks out the razor more. It's as simple as that. Razor blades. Where do I start with razor blades, other than there are many different types. You watch 10 different YouTubers and they're going to basically tell you 10 different things with regards to we recommend this, I recommend them, these are the best for me, these are the best for me, etc, etc. Which is absolutely true, it's the best for them. And what blades I might get on with, you almost certainly will not get on with. So really it's a case of buying sample packs from many retailers as you can, getting a big collection and trying them. Just because I, for example, love feather blades, doesn't mean to say that you will love feather blades. But while we're talking about razor blades, just very briefly, I want to talk to you about this brand here, Derby Extras. Now, I'm only mentioning it because I found this out on the internet. I thought it was rather interesting, but I don't know how wholly true it may be. The difference between these two, other than the fact you've got a green insert and a blue insert, ignore that, they're available in green and blue inserts. Ignore the fact that one says 5 and one says 10, that's purely an indication of how many blades you get in a pack. Is this here, with the word Derby going across the thinnest edge of the packet, are pre-2016 blades. And if you look around the internet, you'll still find many of them. These are Derby Extra blades post 2016 because the word Derby goes across the wider edge of the pack. Now, allegedly, if Google can be believed, pre-2016 Derby made so many of these, and I mean so many of these, flooded the market, and they were pretty much, I wouldn't say market leaders, but allegedly they were doing very well in the razor blade market then. So they flooded the market. The reason why I'm mentioning it is because apparently some people say that the 2016 blades are of inferior quality to the post-2016 blades. Again, other YouTubers and other articles you'll find will say the opposite, whereby even though these are inferior quality, the more shaves you get from them, either the first shave isn't particularly good, but the second or third shave is superior to that which you'll get on the post 2016 blades. Why am I mentioning this? A, because I thought it was quite an interesting article, and B, it just proves the point with regards to there is no best fit. I can't say this is better than that. You need to try all this stuff yourself. What are we going to go on to now? Yeah, pre-shaving. Basically, shaving is a bit of a ritual. Pre-shave. Some people pre-shave, some people don't pre-shave. I pre-shave on occasion. Now, pre-shave isn't about getting your face wet or preparing your face for the shaving experience. I'm not going to be going into that. There'll be far more resources and better people to talk to you about how to shave properly than me. So I'm just going to talk about basically the 3 stages. Pre-shave and pre-shave treatment. This is a Pisarcik pre-shave that I use. I'll explain the rationale for all of this again. This is one of my shave creams. This is my main shave cream. This is 1955 by Rex. Lovely old school shave cream. Then I have some shaving balm. This is by Wood Spice. This is Wood Spice Amber. And then to top it off, I have some aftershave. And who doesn't like Stormtrooper aftershave? Why am I mentioning this? A, because as you notice there's 4 different brands. Again, it's a case of sucking it and seeing, because every single company, for example Pisarcik, they do their pre-shave, they do shaving foam, they do aftershave, or post-shave balm as it's like to be called, and they do aftershave. Suck it and see. What works best for you might not work best for me. You might love the smell, you might hate the smell. They all smell different. Many different varieties of all of these products from all the different companies. Quick thing about shaving foam. Many types of shaving foam, as I've mentioned, but basically there's traditional shaving foam and there's modern shaving foam. Let me try and break that down. Traditional shaving foam, like this one here, is tallow based. Now, tallow is a meat product and it's considered to be rather oily, so that's why in traditional wet shaving some people really like tallow based shaving foam. However, in this day and age, not all people like meat products, so there are vegan products which are made from nut oils and other natural oils, i.e. they're not meat based products. That's the same with all of them, but that's the real difference with the shaving foam, because in my opinion the vegan shaving foams, for example like the Pisarcik shaving foam, which I also use as well, is not meat based. Gives a slightly different shave, and I could only describe it as it lathers slightly differently, it sits differently on the face, and it feels differently when you shave it. I'm not saying the vegan based products are poor, because they're not poor, they're very good. Pisarcik specifically, who I use occasionally, is very good shaving foam, but me personally, I like the feel of the tallow based shaving creams. But again, you'll need to suck it and see, as they say, metaphorically speaking. You might be a person who's opposed to animal products. In that case, that's not an issue, because there are many products out there that are suitable for you. So that, I think, is pretty much it really. I just wanted to cover the types of razors, the kind of nomenclature on what the bits and pieces called, the relevance of things like the shave cap, the shave gap, have a little chat about the other products that you need. So without further ado, I'm going to end this by talking about the YouTubers who I follow, who'll recommend other bits and pieces, for example shaving brushes. Again, very briefly, shaving brushes, oh my word. This is one of my shaving brushes. I have a couple of shaving brushes. This is a Simpson Trafalgar 1. Comes in sizes of 1, 2 and 3. Fantastic synthetic brush. Again, non-animal brushes, it's synthetic, but you can still get badger brushes and various I think it's Badger and Boar are the other animal hair brushes. Again, you don't have to get animal products if you don't want to. Synthetics are becoming more and more prevalent. I've never used an animal brush, but I can say with this one and the other synthetic brush I've got, they're absolutely fantastic. I can't say that Boar is any better than Badger or synthetic because I've not used Boar or Badger. But anyway, so finally, YouTubers to follow. I follow a handful of YouTubers. I'll put links up and links below in the description. Unfortunately, I wouldn't say unfortunately, that's a bit harsh on the Americans. I say unfortunately because I don't see many, or I haven't found many British YouTubers who do this sort of thing. Maybe they are, maybe they're very small, maybe I've just not discovered them. But I've spent a lot of time trawling YouTube, and the majority of ones that I've found are all American, which is not a criticism. You may or may not like Americans, you may or may not like their accent. I personally don't have an issue with that. I'm just a little bit disappointed because for me, wet shaving traditionally is a British thing, it's a British gentleman thing, and I've not found a British gentleman to talk about it. Anyway, moving on. There are many YouTubers out there. Just go onto YouTube and just type in wet shaving or whatever you want to type in and they'll all pop up. But me personally, I follow 4. And they are kind of order of my personal favourites, as we were. 4, 3, 2, 1. Doesn't mean to say that one is any less better than the other. You might prefer one over the other. But anyway, they all offer fantastic videos on product reviews and how to shave. But anyway, in order of preference, in 4th place, sorry Mark, is a guy called Mark Sharody. I almost certainly pronounced that wrong, but basically it's Szorady. I'll put a link up, picture up, link below. He's actually an artist, and I believe, from what I've seen, in fact from what I have seen on his YouTube channel, he started off doing art on his channel, and he still does art, but he kind of morphed into wet shaving, and now he's just all about wet shaving, and he tests everything. I would say he tests more products than razors. So if you want to know about products, balms, pre-shaves, aftershaves, soaps, definitely check out Mark, because he tests loads and loads of those as opposed to razors. He tests razors as well, but he does more products, consumable products, than the actual razor products. In 3rd place is a guy called David Martin of Ohio Shaves. His channel's called Ohio Shaves, another American chap. He's actually really rather interesting chap to follow. I actually do like his accent. I hope he doesn't see this and get embarrassed and DM me, because I'll start blushing. Very nice fella. He does, I don't know whether he's affiliated to a couple of razor manufacturers, but he does tend to focus on 2 particular razor manufacturers. One called, I've completely forgotten me now. Yeah, David Martin, Ohio Shaves. Does a lot of product reviews, lots of razors, but he said he tends to focus on 2 American brands. See, look, the first one he focuses is on the Rockwell. This specifically is Rockwell 2C. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I put it away with a blade in it, picked it up, literally just touched the damn thing from the blade, and it cut my damn finger. So when you finish, I suggest taking the blade out and storing it. But when you have your razor drying or waiting your next shave, take the blade out, unlike me, divvy. So anyway, Ohio Shaves, he focuses on Rockwell razors, and this is a Henson razor. This is a Henson AL13. He does an awful lot of videos on Henson and Rockwell, seems to ignore any of the others. But anyway, not a criticism, but he does like Rockwells and Hensons. In 2nd place, Matt Pisarcik of Razor Emporium. Now, Matt seems like a lovely fella. Again, I like the way he talks, love his accent. Razor Emporium is actually, look, Jesus, Razor Emporium is a shave store. So if you are the other side of the pond, definitely check him out. He does a lot of product reviews. He tends to obviously review stuff that he stocks, and he obviously stocks every single razor you can think of and every single type of product that you can think of that I've just kind of discussed. So check out Matt Pisarcik of Razor Emporium. And first place for me, and ironically on a video of his, which you'll see at some point, he actually Googles, Chat GDP, is it GDP? GPT? Chat AI, whatever, Skynet. He asked Skynet, he says, who's the most famous or popular YouTuber about wet shaving? And his name came up at the top of the list, which is quite cool. His name is Geofatboy, and he's of shavenation.com. The shavenation.com is another shaving store, again, from the other side of the pond. So if you are on the other side of the pond and you're looking for shaving resources, shaving equipment, and superb service, because I've actually bought stuff from Razor Emporium and yet I live over here. Long story, won't bore you with it. But some time ago I wanted a Rex razor, and I wanted some of this 1955, which is sold out here in the UK. So one night, after a few beers, allegedly, I thought, let's not worry about the obscene shipping costs from America to England. So I bought a Rex razor, and I bought some 1955 from him. Anyway, so that's Razor Emporium. So Geofatboy, shavenation.com. Yeah, again, he's got his own store. A lot of reviews from him on how to shave, how to look after your razor, how not to cut yourself, basically how not to be an idiot like me. And I think I've covered everything. As I said, I just wanted to put a quick video together to give all you newbies a little bit of information about wet shaving and what's ahead of you. I hope I've covered everything. I probably haven't. If I haven't, or if you've got any questions, please put something in the comments below. It'll be great if you could subscribe, click the notification bell, so when I pull my finger out and eventually do another video, don't hold your breath, you'll be the first to know. But on a serious note, it'd be great to hear what you think. Any queries, questions or comments, like how to stop bleeding, etc, etc. Put something in the comments below. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for watching, and until the next time, see you then. Bye.